Welcome back, friends. Thanks for being here. This is Steve, and we're going to do DOS 3.3, how to make it livable. We're really close to 1,500 subscribers, so check this thing out here and click it if you haven't already, because it really makes a difference. Welcome to DOS 3.30. That wasn't even what you got back then. That's just because I made it pretty in the last video. Check that one out. And then come back here and finish this one. Or finish this one first and then go check that one out. Or check them both out in whatever order you like. But at least, click the like button down below. Because that makes me happy. Because that makes other people happy. And that was just stupid. I was doing really good until then. Since the last time we were here, I put in a tools folder. And those are the tools that I used to make DOS livable back when I was using it all the time. And one of those tools was a text editor. And that was one of the things that DOS was sorely missing. DOS had Edlin, and Edlin stank. That's about as nice as I can say it. Let's see where we were. Let's do a directory. We've got the command com, the DOS folder, the autoexec bat from last time, and the new tools folder. So I'm going to work on that autoexec bat because I need to put the tools folder into the path because DOS doesn't know that it exists really. So let's do c:/tools/q, which is the name of the command. Autoexec is the file I want to edit. And what I want to do is I want to come down here to the end of this line and put in a semicolon and add c:/tools. And then I want to save it. Look at those menus. Oh, that's slick. You got to press the escape key to bring up the menu. And then you can move around with the arrow keys. And I do believe this had mouse support, but we don't even have a mouse driver loaded on this thing yet. We might have to fix that too. Some cool things about this is that you could have multiple files open. You could have the same file open in two different windows so that you could look at it and use one window for reference and one window for editing. You could do copy-paste blocks. And one of the cool things about this one also was you could mark columns and you could do column-wise blocks. So instead of going the typical left and right, you could also go up or down and make a column block instead of just a regular line-wise block like everybody else uses. And maybe as we get farther into this, I'll have a better example as to how we can do that. Search and replace, and then continue replacing from the last place you left off. Printer support, macro support. I never really got into the macro support. I really don't know that I'd be editing a text file frequently enough that I would want to do macros. But maybe somebody did. Editing, you can add line to end of line, all this fancy stuff. You could even undelete. That was nice, being able to undo. And then some general quality of life choices on this menu. And then let's just quit. And so I put tools in the path, but I haven't actually activated those changes. There's a couple of ways you can activate the changes. You can just run autoexec bat, or you can reboot the machine. I'm going to run autoexec bat because it doesn't do anything fancy at this point that's going to clobber itself. And look, welcome to DOS 3.30. And now I can run the text editor directly. And it's going to ask me what file to edit. We'll just give it one as we can, and there it is. And there are keyboard shortcuts for all of those commands also. And as you can see on the screen, this software was QEdit version 2.1, released February 1990. And it was released by a company called Semware under the principle of shareware. So shareware was one of those things where you try it, you like it, you share it with a friend, they try it, they like it. And hopefully if anybody likes it enough, they will send in the registration fee of $54.95 plus $3 shipping, which would get you a unlocked licensed copy that didn't have all of this advertising all over it. And then you weren't supposed to share that. So it kind of works the same way YouTube does. You watch a video, you like it, and you consider supporting the person that creates it. And that's what they were doing. Let's go into the tools folder and see what other files we have in there that I had used. And this is pretty big. Let's do a wide listing. All right, so the first one I have up here is HS. Let's see what HS is. So this processed a bunch of files in the current folder Well, no, it processed the entire drive. And it made a file called unhs.bat, which removes hidden in system files, and rehs.bat, which replaces hidden in system files. Let's take a look at what those look like. Okay, nothing in there. And the text on the screen is gone. Let's double check to see if it put it in this folder or some other folder. Let's rerun it. And I don't know where it put it. Ah, in the root folder. That kind of makes sense. So now we have the backup for the autoexec bat file that we changed, and we have the unhs and rehs. So now let's look at the unhs.bat. It's going to use the DOS attrib command, and it's going to remove the hidden and system flags from iosys, ms-dos sys, and recycle bin folders. And I don't think, yeah, that's some trash from my Macintosh. So ignore those. They don't really exist. Let's quit out of this file. And actually, let's load the other file, which is rehs.bat. And there it is. It's doing +h +s and putting those back, just like we thought it would. I don't remember why I had this. It might come up a little bit later. It was probably for me doing some type of fancy batch program where I would show you all of the files or let you work with all of the files. So let's delete unhs.bat and let's delete rehs.bat. Let's go back into our tools folder and see what's in there. Ah, this is not Linux. All right, pkzip fix. That was a tool that would attempt to repair a broken zip archive. I do not have a broken zip archive to run it on. But there you go. And again, shareware, and this was by PKware in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. I didn't realize they were from Wisconsin. And then you just type in pkzipfix and the file name of the zip file you want to fix. Pretty straightforward. No fee is charged for use, copying, or description, as long as it is non-commercial. All right, dtlglgrab.exe. Let's see what that is. TGL Grab, TerraVision Inc., Roy Green, 1989. Activate when in graphics mode will automatically capture the screen to a Pictor compatible file. Oh, this is awesome. This was a TSR, a terminate and stay resident program, and you could press Control Home, and I don't have a home key on this keyboard, so I can't press that key combination. And it would do a screen capture and save it out to disk. Pretty cool. And now it's in memory, so let's see how much memory we have free. 564160. Let's reboot. $599,232. So you can see it took up a little bit of memory, and looks like there were some errors found. So let's check disk/F. And no more errors. Awesome. Back to where we were. All right, so dtgl grab would do screen captures. ndos.pif, PIF, Program Information File. That's from the Windows 3 1 days, and that was a way to tell Windows how to run a DOS program. And this DOS program was called ndos, which is the Norton version of 4DOS. And we'll probably run into that a little bit later. delcache.bat. That's a batch file. Let's see what it says. Ooh, Netscape Navigator. This is Windows 95 stuff. So I used this for a while. Windows 95 at least because it has long file names and spaces in file names. So this is trying to remove temporary internet files. Save me some disk space because disk space was at a premium back then. Right, what's next? Sweep. See if there's any text in here. Charles Petzold needs DOS 2.0. All right, and my keyboard buffer and keyboard repeat is stuck on slow mode. We'll probably fix that later on too. Zoo. Zoo is an archive program that will compress, and it's a competing format to zip. So let's do zoo test.zoo, and let's put in the kd.exe file. Zoo space A for add, test.zoo, kd.exe. And it added it, and it didn't do any compression. So let's compare that to pk zip, test.zip, kd.exe. And that did 5%. And then there's also another one on here, Arg, which is the archiver by Robert Jung, J-U-N-G. And my testing back then showed that this did a little bit better compression than pkzip did. Let's do test.arg, kd.exe. I didn't like the command. I think I need to do the same thing with this that I did with zoo, and let's give it an action. Yep, 94.9. So dir star.zip, dir star.zoo, dir star.arg. And the zip file is 6448, and the zoo file is 6837, and the arg file is 6431. And the original file was 6668. So zoo actually made it bigger, arg made it the smallest, and pkzip did a pretty good job. So let's delete those files. All right, what's next? Oh, LHA. JA, test.lha, which is, I forget what LH stood for, but it was the LH archiver. ZH. No, I don't want you to continue. Sorry. No. Because I put it in the wrong order. DOS was very unforgiving. And still is, actually. But there are ways around that, and we'll continue on down the path. All right. 6363. So LZH beat out ARG. Awesome. All right, where were we? Zoo. There's a MCB83F. That's a long file name from Windows 95. I don't know what that is. Mouse. Is that going to work? Searching for a mouse. PS2 device connected. Awesome. Now we have a mouse. Let's see if Q supports that. No, but that might be a problem with VirtualBox. Devices, input, keyboard. Okay. So the mouse driver found a mouse, but VirtualBox is not happy with it. SKM. Sidekick. Ooh, Sidekick was awesome. I can't remember the keystroke to get into Sidekick, but this was another TSR, terminate and stay resonant program. So this thing is stuck in memory, and Sidekick had a whole bunch of stuff that you could do. I think they had a notepad. Obviously, as you can see on the screen, it had a calculator and an ASCII table, and I don't know, Control-Alt-C, Control-Alt-S, Control-S, Control Shift S, Control Shift C. Let's do a little quick search. Control Alt. Oh. Okay. I have to hit the Alt key twice when I do that. Control Alt Alt. But it's supposed to be Control Alt. So we've got Help, Calculator, ASCII Table, and Setup. Let's go down and see what's in Setup. See bottom line. Save window setup or exit. I haven't made any changes to the window setup, so that's not going to help me any. Let's try F1 for help. File help. Oh, I was trying to save disk space. I removed the help file because I didn't need it. That's how awesome I was. All right, Control Alt Alt. No, it's just Control Alt. It's just being picky. Weird. All right, calculator. A couple of different types of calculators there. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Hey, this thing's smart. And this thing probably had mouse support. All right, and copy and paste support. Cool. Control Alt. ASCII table. Pretty slick. And I would have needed the ASCII table all day long. All right, so now I've got my terminate and stay resident, my TSR ASCII table, and my calculator. I mean, what's the point of sitting in front of a computer if you can't use it as a basic calculator all day long? That's one of the things that I do almost all the time, sitting in front of a calculator. On a MacBook, you have Spotlight, which is command space, and you just type your math in, 1 plus 1, 2. Ta-da, or bigger math, or complex math, or whatever. It's fine, it's happy with it. And if that doesn't work, then you can type in your favorite calculator program, LibreOffice spreadsheet, for example, and it'll pop up a spreadsheet for you, ready to roll. All right, so that was SKM. What is QPV? QPV 386 quick picture viewer for 386 and higher processors. Ooh, and a graphical interface. Look at that, isn't that slick? I doubt there are any pictures in this folder because there wouldn't have needed to be any pictures in this folder. Nope, no pictures in this folder. All right, so it's bouncing around by file name. How do we get out of here? Alt-O for options. F1 for help. Quit, Alt-X, because I would have thought about that. All right, we run into some pictures to view. We'll have to launch the quick picture viewer. LHA, PKZip, we did. FZC is a config file for something. FreeNote. I think. Yeah, no notes done, can't free anything. This is the opposite of note. So let's do note. Note installed. Dynamic memory control. Note memory location. Note installed. This is another one of those TSR programs. And if we do FreeNote, it should remove it from, yep, it removes it from memory, but I don't remember what happened. Oh, I remember the keystroke to get in there. Nope, seems to be gone to the cosmos forever. All right, so Note put the note command in and FreeNote took it out. I remember that much. There's probably some keystroke that you use to pull it up to type notes or something like that. Pack. Oh, it's another archiver. Pack a test.pack kd.exe. 6.7, so not as good. And the reason why you would keep around a whole bunch of these different versions of archiving software that you didn't like was because somebody else did, and they would send you a pack file or a zip file or an LHZ file, and you'd need to do the thing. That's how you got it done. Alias. Ooh. Let's see. Alias D space dir / W. D. Oh, look at that. So alias does what you would think it would do if you are a person who's familiar with Linux. It creates an alias for a command. So that works. SB16 set is probably something to do with setting up your Sound Blaster 16. Sound Blaster 16, and there's no driver installed. Oh, I forgot we had that. Ghost 3.1. Yep, general hardware-oriented system transfer by Binary Research Limited in 1996. This was an amazing product. And what it would do is it would allow you to clone one hard disk to another, and we use this to transfer a hard disk image of, and this was made in 1997. We would use it to transfer a hard disk image of Windows 95 from one machine to another. So a company that you work for would want to have, say, 300 new machines installed. And instead of sitting there with a CD-ROM drive or a handful of floppies and unboxing the machine and sticking in the CD and running through the entire install process, and then running through the install process for Microsoft Office, and then running through the install process for the different programs that the company used, and then setting all the configuration options and getting it connected to the network and installing all the proper drivers for the different video cards and sound cards and mouse drivers and other options. You would do it once, you would do it right, you would create an image, and then you would blast that image out to everybody else. And that technology is still used today. Wrong keystroke. And I don't remember how to get out of this. Let's get out of this the old-fashioned way. Let's reboot. There probably is a better way to get out of it, but I'm not going to clone a hard disk right now. And now that I've rebooted, the alias that I created is gone. What else do we have? Ghost 3.1 mark. And there should be a corresponding program called space. No. Marked current memory position. It's just going to keep doing that. I'll have to see what that means, why we would do that. regfix.bat. Yep. This is making a backup. Yep, so this is taking your backup copy of your Windows registry and making it the current copy of your Windows registry, in case you screwed something up. Because Windows 95 was very dirty on installs, and it became a thing to have an uninstall program because they didn't make one when you first got it. I mean, in the DOS days, if you installed WordPerfect 5.1, for example, you put it in the C:/WP51 folder. And if you didn't like it, you just removed the C:/WP51 folder and WordPerfect was gone. Done. Windows 95 came out and it put stuff in the program files directory, it put stuff in the Windows directory, it put stuff in the system directory, it put stuff in the system registry, it put stuff in the user registry. And then when you wanted to uninstall it, you would just delete the folder because you didn't know any better yet, and leave all the rest of those breadcrumbs behind, and you'd run out of disk space and your system would get slower and slower and slower and slower. So this was probably something that I did so that I could install a piece of software, play with it, test it, and then I could remove the known folders and then restore the registry back and keep my registry clean. Oh, there's a FAQ there. FAQ stands for Frequently Asked Questions. Midnight Commander. Ooh. Midnight Commander. I don't know what came out first, Midnight Commander or Norton Commander. So obviously that's going to be on here, and this is the fact that goes with it. And I guess I just didn't. I guess I got to the point where I had enough hard disk space that I didn't care anymore about getting rid of stupid stuff like that. That's the fact for Midnight Commander. PK Lite. PK Lite would take an executable file and it would compress it and create a self-extracting archive of the executable file. So I don't know, let's see if we have one. I probably did it to all of these. Let's see, VGA 50. While we're here, VGA 50 is probably going to put this into 50 column mode. 50, yep. Ooh, I wrote this software. VGA 50/50. And since I didn't type in any parameters, I was nice enough to put up a little help screen to tell you how to use the thing that you obviously didn't know how to use because you didn't type in the right parameter. So VGA 50 puts it into 50 column mode. 50 row mode, sorry, 80 columns, 50 rows. And normally it's 80 columns, 25 rows. VGA 50/25, puts it back. So you can see that there was more text on the screen and it was smaller the last time. So let's do PK Lite VGA 50.exe. And it's already compressed. PK Lite by itself, and see if we can uncompress it. Remove overlay data, expand a compressed file. PK Lite. Well, first off, let's see how big it is. It's 5020. Okay, that's close enough to 5025 that we won't forget what size that is. PK Lite-X VGA 50.exe. That gonna work? Oh, look at that. Original size 5020, expanded size 6048. VGA 50. There's my help screen. VGA 50/50. VGA 50/25. So it still does all the things, it just takes up more disk space. So that's what PK Lite would do. PK Lite VGA 50.exe. Original size 6048, compressed size 5020. So we just saved 17% of our disk space. So that's how PK Lite worked. And that was pretty neat. Saved you some disk space. PK Lite, what's next? Q, we've already done Q. Rearge. And it went off the screen a little bit. Doesn't tell you what it does. Convert all archives to ARG format. Ooh, okay. So what it's going to do is it's going to search for archives and it's going to convert them from one format to another. So let's make something up. Let's do pkzip test.zip kd.exe like we've been doing all along. Rearge. It's going to give me that help screen. /r, recursive, so don't want to do that. /d, delete original archives. We don't want to do that. So rearge star.star. And original size 6448, new size 6431, savings another 17%. Total converted 1, total skipped 80. Back to the original size, new size, and savings. So it found the zip file in the current folder like we thought it would. It extracted the kd.exe out of the zip file, and then it created an ARG file in its place. All right, so there is the test.zip and the test.arg, and the file sizes just like they said it was. So it does the thing. What a way to make it easier for people to convert over to using your software. Very thoughtful, Mr. Jung. All right, folks, this video was getting a little bit long, so I wanted to go ahead and cut this a little bit early and make a part 2, which will come out at some future date. So we went over some of the DOS 3.3 utilities that I used, and there's still quite a bit more. And then some of them even went for Windows. So we'll have to do Windows. We were going to do that anyway. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being awesome.